We'll do our land acknowledgement. So I'd like to acknowledge that we're on the ancestral lands of the Mi'kmaq people. I'd like to thank the Mi'kmaq people of today for their ancestors sharing the beautiful lands here in Pictou County with our ancestors, whether they came 400 years ago or 4 years ago. We are all treaty people. Now, we need a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved, Peter.
And the seconder? Seconded by Councillor Turner. Are there any questions or additions to the agenda? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion carried. Now we have the emergency resolutions. Are there any emergency resolutions this evening? Okay, seeing none, we'll move right along. We have our errors, omissions, or corrections to the minutes of our last regular meeting, which was on May the 5th. Somebody like to make a motion? We don't need a motion. We just need to know if there's any errors, omissions, or corrections. And for the third time, is there any errors, omissions, or corrections to the minutes of May 5th? Hearing none, we'll declare those minutes approved as presented. And also, there was an in-camera session on that same date, May the 5th. So we need a motion to approve those minutes. No, we don't, sorry. I'll get on track here eventually. Are there any errors, corrections, or omissions from those minutes? Any errors, corrections, or omissions from the May 5th in-camera? And for the last time, any errors, omissions, or corrections to the in-camera meeting of May the 5th? Okay, those minutes are approved as presented. And then we have the minutes from the public hearing that was held to do with our plan here on May the 5th as well. Are there any errors, omissions, or corrections to those minutes? Any errors, omissions, or corrections? For the final time, any errors, omissions, or corrections to the public hearing minutes? Seeing none, those minutes will also be approved as presented. Now, we have some pieces of correspondence this evening. So one of them, well, I'll read them through quickly. One is from the Municipality of East Hants to the NSFM, copied to us, regarding the Code of Conduct training. I think that one's mostly around how difficult it was for some of us anyway to find our way into that. Are there any questions or comments on that first correspondence? Seeing none. A letter from Nova Scotia Emergency Measures Organization on the path forward for ground search and rescue teams. You received that letter looking at perhaps new ways for that the province has proposed to handle the ground search and rescue teams. And with that, I want to make the comment that we're very pleased to see all the orange shirts here this evening. And thank you very much for the turnout and the wonderful work that you do. We'll have more on that later.
Might be a good idea to read that bottom paragraph when they're all here.
Okay. Right here. Okay, our Deputy Warden Wayne Murray just advised me that it might be a good idea to read the last paragraph of this letter that we received from the province. It says, "To that end, I want to share that Tracy Crowell has been brought on as a consultant with the Department of Emergency Management to assist with this effort. She will be reaching out to GSAR teams in the coming weeks to arrange listening sessions to discuss tools, training, and hear other observations and advice. Tracy will also be happy to have conversations with CAOs who have advice and guidance to share. We will work with AMANs and the CAOs table to coordinate this effort." So, and there will be certainly changes coming. I think it's in the earlier part of that letter, it certainly recognizes the valuable work that search and rescue teams have done, especially over the last period of time, not just here in Pictou County, but also in other areas. And I think it's being recognized for sure that perhaps there needs to be a better system set up to for funding, probably for one thing, but also for coordination and whatnot. So it's good to see that recognition coming from the province. One could say maybe a long time coming, but better late than never. So with that, I'm going on to the next piece of correspondence Resident concern that MOPC does not have a noise bylaw. And the final letter from the Nova Scotia DNR regarding uranium mining in Nova Scotia. So, and we will be dealing with that later on in our meeting tonight as well. So those are the 4 pieces of correspondence. Is there any comments or questions on any of those pieces of correspondence? Go ahead, Councillor McDonald.
Just one about that noise bylaw. I've informed that we do have something, do we? No.
No.
We don't have none. Can we set up a meeting with them or?
Generally, the way that, that's on, yeah. Generally, the way that's handled in this municipality is that a meeting is set up if there's a noise complaint between the councillor and myself as warden and the complainer and the complainee to see if we can find, some way to resolve. Many times we can, sometimes we can't. But it has been looked at many times here in the time I've been here, but long before that, of having a noise bylaw. And for a number of reasons, it hasn't been accepted by this council. But certainly we can go ahead and set that meeting up.
Okay, great.
And if this person's in your area?
Yes, she is.
Yeah,
Yes.
if we can set that meeting up, and we'll find a date that works for everybody.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Now, where's my agenda? So we're down now to our presentations. So our first presentation tonight is in honor of Charlie Strickland from the Pictou County Volunteer Ground Search and Rescue on his retirement. So I have something I'm going to read here first, and then we're going to do a presentation. And then we'll move on to another presentation. So this is entitled A Tribute to Retiring Pictou County Volunteer Ground Search and Rescue Search Director, Charlie Strickland. The Pictou County Volunteer Ground Search and Rescue Organization was formed in 1995 by the late Donald McKenzie, then Emergency Management Officer for the county, and the late Pictou County Warden Hank Dunwald, who recognized the need for the county to have trained, dedicated search members. Charlie Strickland volunteered to become a member of this newly formed organization, only to find himself elected as the first president. The team did not become operational until the spring of '96. Since then, the Pictou County Volunteer Ground Search and Rescue has been operating as a charitable organization requiring volunteers to train, finance operations, equipment, and vehicles, present various loss prevention and outdoor safety programs to community members, as well as manage search and civil response operations when called upon by the RCMP or the Nova Scotia Emergency Management Organization within their local region, as well as supporting other search teams. Charlie not only trained and provided training to volunteers, but also was active in many responses with the Pictou County Volunteer Ground Search and Rescue, operating as the team's search director role. He created and managed an annual budget for various projects, training course material, and equipment to ensure the team had adequate supplies and resources. Perhaps one of the most memorable and proud moments of Charlie's volunteer experiences was his involvement as one of 40 Ground Search and Rescue members from Pictou County who traveled to Halifax to help with the Swissair 111 airplane crash disaster recovery. Although an emotionally taxing experience for all, Charlie saw GSAR in action, showing the professional capability of volunteers to organize and assist in multi-agency disaster. He was honored to be a pallbearer at the memorial site which commemorates this tragedy, and he treasures the pin and note indicating appreciation of your professionalism, compassion, and tremendous support during Swissair 111 operations. All search and civil emergency responses were important to him, as family members and friends need GSAR service to have resolve. At the same time, Charlie was keenly aware this cannot compromise volunteer safety and minimize the need for emotional support during and after a response. Charlie was always thinking of ways to improve the team As search director, he was always considering improvements, either through the purchase of equipment, training activities, etc. Always cognizant of safety and liability issues for the team, Charlie wrote the safety manual now used by the Nova Scotia Ground Search and Rescue Association to help GSAR teams prevent injuries and legal challenges. Ever thinking of prevention, he developed the dementia handout kit before Android and Apple phones, it says, to help guardians report missing loved ones for a speedier rate of recovery. Before his retirement, Charlie planned and organized the modernization of the incident command post for the Pictou County Ground Search and Rescue. During his 29 years as a volunteer, Charlie has tried to uphold his responsibilities with professionalism and decorum. He has worked with many team members, as well as municipal, provincial, and federal agencies and representatives to accomplish the best for the Pictou County Volunteer Ground Search and Rescue. As a leader, he has tried to educate, communicate, and implement high GSAR standards to enhance and build strong ground search and rescue teams in Nova Scotia. We have been extremely fortunate to have this quality of individual on the Pictou County Volunteer Ground Search and Rescue team and as a member of the Nova Scotia Ground Search and Rescue Association. It is this type of GSAR volunteer with the support of the community that will continue to serve Pictou County and Nova Scotia well. Congratulations, Charlie. And now I believe we're going to do a presentation in Senator Rice here. Congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
29 years.
Yeah.
President.
Would you like to say anything, or? I'm sorry? Would you like to say anything, or can you hold that for just a minute?
Sure.
You obviously know me. It's a short one. It's a short one, yeah.
I'll get a chair, yeah.
Thank you very much, Warden Parker, councillors, ladies and gentlemen, and fellow Ground SAR people. Thank you very much for this certificate. This is more than just something for my me wall. It is recognition of the work of the whole team and all of the GSAR members in our county, and I'm very happy to receive it. You've already covered most of what I was going to say about Hank Dunawall and Donald McKenzie, so thank you. As I am now retired from the team, I can only speak for myself, but I want to thank Council for their initial support when we were organizing in 1995 and their continued support to this day for Pictou County Volunteer Ground Search and Rescue. I will finish with one thing for Pictou County Volunteer Ground Search and Rescue. It's volunteer members and for Ground SAR members across Nova Scotia. And that is why I was a member of this team for 29 years. It's these people. They're a family of selfless people who want to help their community practice this in any way they can, and I was proud to be one of them. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Standing off. I lost the guy's name. Don, okay. She was scared I was going to start singing. So. Is Don here? We'll call Don up to make their own presentation from the Ground Search and Rescue team.
Charlie, on behalf of Pictou County Volunteer Ground Search and Rescue, we want to thank you for your 29 years of selfless dedication to the team, making it what it is, and ensuring that it can grow beyond you. So thank you very much for your service.
Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you all very much. Yeah.
I would like to give you.
Can I go now? There's something else there. Okay. Yeah, yes, I'm saying.
This one's from the association.
Oh, okay.
I want to read a message from Sherry.
Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes.
Oh, yeah. This is from the association. This is from Sherry. We want to say congratulations on this anniversary with Ground Search and Rescue in Nova Scotia. On behalf of all the members, we want to acknowledge your service, not just to GSAR as a searcher, but also all of the programs you've helped create for the operations in this province. Your dedication is not lost, and missing subjects is known by all, and your contributions will be well observed for many years. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Oh, wow, from the association, the provincial association.
Very good.
Thank you very much.
So if you all want to follow Adam, not that we're kicking you out, but he's going to take a nice group photo inside of the chambers there for you.
Yeah, that's right. He knows this procedure well. Okay. Are we waiting for them to come back, I wonder? I don't think they're not gonna come back here. I just wondering, are we ready to go?
It's the gavel.
Ryan? Are we ready to go again?
We're
Yeah.
just waiting here because we're gonna have to sit down again.
Oh, I see what you, I was waiting for you folks to sit down. Okay. Okay, we'll move to our next presentation this evening. And these are two people, too, that we're very proud of that have worked with us over the last number of years. So I'm going to read what's in front of me first before I get on to saying too much other. So Violet McCullough was the first student member of the MOPC Council's Climate Change Advisory Committee. As a member of Northumberland Regional High School's Environmental Committee, Violet brought new perspectives and good ideas to the advisory committee. She especially worked actively on the tree planting subcommittee, planting spruce seedlings in the spring with student volunteers she recruited, and helping with the distribution of oak and maple seedlings to county homeowners in the fall. Violet was sponsored by the advisory committee to participate in the 2024 Smart Energy Halifax Canada's Green Technology event, where she was particularly impressed by the collaboration between different renewable resources. Violet will be particularly remembered as an advisory committee member for her strong advocacy for development of media about climate change action for distribution in county schools, and she will be missed, for sure. And a year after Violet joined the advisory committee, Pierre Pradel became the second student member. We suspect due to some encouragement from Violet. Pierre actively participated in advisory committee meetings and was also interested in climate change education. The tree planting subcommittee was the area that Pierre gravitated to, volunteering with friends on the spring seedling planting projects. He also participated for a period on the Climate Change Action Planning Subcommittee, undertaking a couple of areas of climate change research. Like Violet, Pierre was a sponsored participant in the Smart Energy event in April 2024, and he was fascinated with all the new clean technologies that were on display. We will also miss the thoughtful input Pierre has brought to the advisory committee over the past 3 years. And that's the end of what's written in front of me, but I do want to say I was at most of those meetings, Climate Change Advisory Committee, and we tried really hard to get young people on our committee, and it's not easy because, well, a lot of young people are just a bunch of old folks hanging around the table there. But anyway, it was great to have both Violet and Pierre, and we had others. I think we had 3 or 4 others over time that were with us as well. And we will continue to try to have more youth members on that committee, because we're really talking about the future of our earth and climate and everything. We need to have young people involved in that. And I do want to mention, before I forget, that this Smart Energy event that I referred to with both Violet and Pierre, my brother David Parker, who's with us here tonight, was a counselor at that time, and he was the one that coordinated that and act as their chaperone, I guess we'll call it, for that meeting. So I thank Dave for that. So at this time, we want to make a presentation to Violet and Pierre, out in center ice again. Oh, and Councillor Turner, you're going to join me, yeah. For those who don't know, Councillor Turner is the chair of the Climate Change Advisory Committee. Pleased to have him here tonight too. So, first of all, it's yours, Violet. Congratulations, great to have you with us. Here, same thing, great to have you with us. Now you can get a picture. I'll hold on the envelope. Together here.
Paris is going to be your speaker, okay?
Okay, yeah, I talked to her this morning. All right, we'll start back up again, and we have one more presentation here tonight. This is different than the other two, which were recognitions. This is regarding an issue which many of you have heard about and has been in our minutes that you received or in our package. And it has to do with the proposal perhaps to have uranium mining, and it's in the particular area of Louisville, which is in Councillor Bailey's area in River John, just outside River John or whatever. And so we're in the process of trying to find out what we can about. It kind of was, I don't know, just laid in our laps very quickly for all of us. And so tonight we have Barb Harris. I spoke with Barb on the phone this morning, and she's prepared to give us their presentation and their ask, I guess I would say, and then see where council wants to go with it after that.
Right.
Go ahead, Barb.
And can you give me a 2-minute warning, because this is a big subject, and I'm sure I have way more to say than you have time for tonight, so.
I guess Sue Ann or Adam down the corner there will give you the 2-minute warning.
Okay, great. So thank you so much for making the time for us, and I think you are probably all aware of how much improvement there's been in the community of River John in the last few years, how much work we've done to, revitalize the community, and it's become a very attractive place for people to move to and to enjoy, and people from all across the county are coming to, use our marina, our public access to the river, all sorts of things. So I hope that by supporting the motions we're going to put forward, you can help us keep River John as beautiful and attractive to people as it is today. There's a huge amount to learn about uranium and not very much time to begin it. So I've tried to create the motions for you today that you can accept, I hope, based on how much you know and the information I presented just in the letter, because I do understand that you're not in a position to take a position on uranium exploration and mining at this point, and that's true for most of the people in our community as well. This has all happened unusually fast. We had a ban for 44 years. All of a sudden it was repealed without public consultation, without public discussion, without First Nations consultation, and without an evaluation of the potential risks. So there was no evidence given by this government that anything had changed that would make it all of a sudden okay when it wasn't okay for 44 years. And that was 2 different processes of public consultation that happened in the past. So, and one of the reasons we needed this to happen, this discussion here at council to happen fast, is by the next council meeting, the province will have awarded these leases for uranium exploration. It's really very, very fast process. Not just here, but in the East Dalhousie and in what they call the Millet Brook area, which is in Hants County, Vaughan. That's a huge area. So we're asking 2 things, and the motions stand alone. They don't have to both be adopted together. That's why they're 2 separate motions. The first is requesting that this council request that the provincial government pause before granting any leases for uranium exploration in this county, to allow time for council and communities to become informed and give input about the potential impacts of uranium exploration on the community. And I should have added, but I didn't, to evaluate the risks and benefits. And the second motion is to ask council to state that the River John watershed needs to be protected and to agree to begin a process. All we're asking is not a whole complex thing, but just begin a process that aims to achieve protection of the River John watershed, and that asks the province to not permit any activities that would not be allowed in a protected watershed while the process of trying to get it protected takes place. So, as I said, we're not asking you to take a position on uranium right now, and we know you can't. This letter was signed by 2 people, myself and Linda Little, who's sitting there in the plaid shirt. But we have 51 more signatures. Everything went so fast, I needed to get the letter to Sue Ann a week ago. We just written it, so we took some time in the last week to get some signatures. And we haven't even had a public meeting yet. That meeting is scheduled for this Thursday, and you're all invited. And there will be more information that'll be, another step in the process of informing ourselves, all of us, about the issue. So I tried to give council enough information in that letter to understand why a pause is a reasonable ask. Environment Canada, like the quote I included from Environment Canada, explains how this is quite different, uranium, from other mining. And it says the release of radioactive material into the environment presents a special class of environmental protection problem because radiation cannot, in any known practical way, be neutralized or altered from its natural decay sequence, and it can cause permanent, cumulative, or like building up, or delayed but irreversible harmful effects on all living organisms. That was in a brief presented to the 1985 MacLellans Commission that looked into whether the uranium temporary moratorium should be continued. And that's just one of the submissions, and the MacLellans Commission did recommend that. The Buchanan government did adopt then the moratorium. Right now in River John, there are 15 private properties that are in the lease area. It's 80 hectares, but they're not the only ones affected. The water flow from that lease area in the watershed goes through 100 other properties, and then it reaches the River John, and then it reaches the Northumberland Strait. So that's just, we have to start to look at what the scope could be. Then, since I wrote this letter, there are now many more licenses pending, companies that have applied to mine uranium, or to explore for uranium in the province. One company alone has over 200, or has, at last count, 211 leases pending. So don't think this is going to just be River John. That was just the first point, and now that it's open, companies are applying for licenses to mine uranium all over the province. And I can't tell you exactly where, because I haven't looked at those maps, but I know there's a lot. So Canadian Association of Physicians for the Environment, as I said in the letter, says uranium mining and exploration pose grave risks. I think the way the government has been proceeding, they're kind of implying that exploration is no big deal. And that might be true for some minerals, I don't know. But it's not true for uranium, because uranium becomes dangerous when it's disturbed. And there have already been 2 steps in the evaluation of the resource. The stuff that's done from the air, that's all done. We've got maps of, where uranium is all across the province. The first stage of sampling has already been done. That was done between 1976 and 1981. So this next stage is going to be more disruptive. Exactly what process they're going to use, exactly what, how many holes they're going to drill, whether they need to do trenching, we don't know. This is part of what we don't know. Nobody's been told. Property owners don't know. None of us know. Well, presumably some people in the government and the companies know. But this is not public information. And it makes a big difference in terms of, what the impact can be. So there's also been, and just to be clear, please don't get misled by the comparison with Saskatchewan.
2
There's a
minutes.
lot of, 2 minutes? Okay. A lot of differences. Their population is 600 kilometers away from their mine. And there's been no evaluation of risks specific to Nova Scotia, and there are considered specific risks that are high rainfall, extreme weather, acidic water, all increase the risk. So I think it's more than fair to ask for a pause. Whether or not we think the provincial government will give one, that's really not the issue. I think it's important to get it on the table that a municipal government feels this is moving too fast. You weren't informed, the public wasn't informed, and there are a lot of risks. That's basically the bottom line. The US EPA is clear. It says, and this is from 2025, this year, new mining technology does not, that's my line, it doesn't make it safe. They say, regardless of how uranium is extracted from rock, the processes leave behind radioactive waste. And they say that 80 to 90% of the radioactivity in the rock is left behind. So I'll leave you with that. I hope you can support this ask for a pause and for first steps to protect the watershed. I think it flags for everyone in the province that watersheds are not being protected adequately. What does this mean for rural communities all across the province if we don't protect our water? And how does that impact all sorts of things? How does it impact agriculture, fishing, commercial fisheries, property values, all sorts of things? There's a lot we need to learn, and in the next few weeks is not enough. Thank you.
Thank you, Barb, for enlightening us on, we all need to be enlightened on this subject, I guess, but your specific ask tonight is for council to make two motions.
Please.
And the first motion is for a pause, and you and I talked earlier about, if we have any time limit on that pause or not. Are you asking for a 2-month, 1-month pause, or are you asking for a pause until something else happens?
I would say, and I think it's in the letter, a general thing, and maybe we can be more specific, that to allow time for council and communities to become informed and give input about the potential impacts of uranium exploration on the community. And I would add, and to do a proper science-based evaluation of the risks and benefits before the pause is lifted.
Okay.
I mean, there has to be an evaluation of the risks.
Want to be clear on that, so is there any counselor here that would like to make that motion to request of the provincial government for a pause? It's a request of the province. We can't make a pause. Request of the province for a pause at this time in the uranium exploration deadlines. So would somebody like to second that motion? Councillor Bailey. So the motion has been moved and seconded that we write to the provincial government and ask for a pause in the uranium exploration, and we're talking specifically here about the Louisville area, or Louisville Road area. So does anybody have any questions or any comments to make on the resolution? Go ahead, Councillor Boyles.
Yeah, I just have a couple if I could. One, you were saying about the uranium. How can we get, where's the best place for us to get a real knowledge of, how bad this is and what it can cause and everything? Do you have any idea where the best place to find that out is?
I'm working on it, but yes, there are quite a number of resources, and I would volunteer to help you, I'd share some of the resources I have. I know there's a geologist, there are a number of geologists who are in the province who are prepared to speak on what they feel are the dangers. There's a young geologist who spoke to the Public Bills Committee when this was up for discussion, and he had spoke to, I think, the meeting in Vaughan the other day, just a couple of days ago. There's a woman named Elizabeth Costers, who's a retired geologist and was a professor, I think, at Acadia, who's going to be speaking in Tatamagouche at a public meeting on the 9th of June. So yeah, there's a number of people, and I'm working with some people in my community who have other contacts, and I think, geologists, hydrogeologists, Canadian Association of Physicians for the Environment has said they're willing to speak, and they, I believe, will be issuing a public open letter to the Premier in the next very little while. So yes, there's resources, and I would be happy to help gather them, because I think all the municipalities are going to need them, and if we can share what we know, it'll help.
That's great. My other question just to May is just, is there just certain parts where the uranium is, like to be mined, or is it everywhere?
It's pretty well everywhere in Nova Scotia, not exactly. There is a map put out by the Mining Association of Nova Scotia, and you'll see the more concentrated areas. The River John area apparently, and I am not an expert on this, but you can see it on the map. They have like blue triangles and yellow squares, and there are different kinds of formations. Apparently, the one in River John is actually one of the, it's not an even, it's called a rolled top or something formation, and it's not evenly distributed like it would be in some other places, even in this province. So it actually will take, I've been told, even more drilling to determine the value of the resource because of this rolling formation. And I think maybe I can just add one other point that's helpful. Nova Scotia has very, very low-grade uranium. The amount of uranium in the River John site, according to the government's RFP, is between 100 and 200 parts per million. That's not a high-grade ore. There is also, it's important to know, there is no scarcity of uranium. It's a critical mineral in Canada because of the mines in Saskatchewan, which have exceptionally high grade, like some of the best in the whole world, and a huge supply. So this idea that we need, it's become critical in Nova Scotia, the world doesn't need Nova Scotia's uranium, and Canada doesn't need it.
Okay, thank you. And before I go on to the next question, I may have made a procedural error here in that normally when we have a presenter, we don't then pass motions while the presentation is going on. We do it at our next meeting. But I was treating this as an emergency resolution because of the date that's coming up, June 6th, I believe, or whatever, and if we're going to ask for a pause, there's no good ask for a pause after it's already too late. So, but in order to have it as an emergency resolution, I need to have a majority of the councillors, agree to have this as an emergency resolution so that we can vote on it tonight. So, pardon me? Reconsideration? Could we, if we can get enough to the reconsideration, could we do it under that? No, because it's not from a previous meeting. So I'm going to ask for a show of hands as to how many agree to treat this as an emergency resolution and hold the resolution tonight.
Can we have a reading of the clarification of the motion again? Can we have a reading of that first? Or no?
Well, generally with emergency resolution, we tell them what it's about and then we ask, if council's in favor. So I didn't get the count, sorry. All those in favor? We have a majority, so yeah, okay. So we have 2 nays? All right, so we will continue on, and so the pardon me? Oh. Okay, Councillor Dewar, you had a question?
Yes, and thank you, Mr. Warden. Thank you, Barb, for coming in. I thought the place would be packed tonight, standing out in the yard waiting to get in to talk about this. It's a watershed. We already made rules about watersheds within the last month. They didn't want to have somebody with a few ducks or goats or sheep or maybe a horse anything near the Forbes Lake one. And we're talking the same thing in River John. It's a watershed. And when you fool around with uranium, you might as well be fooling around with asbestos. You know what asbestos does? It's the same thing. It'll kill you. So, and think how many people in the province of Nova Scotia got asbestos poisoning or cancer. And you know where it goes from there, okay? But there's not the time to fool around with this. This has got to be stopped. And you have it right there by having it near your watershed. So if there's all those properties, 50, what did you say? 52?
15 in it
In
and
it.
100
Around
through the
it.
water
So-
flow.
There's a pile of people right there, so I really, really think this is about the most important emergency resolution that we likely passed in a good number of years. Thank you.
Thank you, Chester.
Okay, just to be clear, they're telling me that there's no watershed in River John. I guess it depends on what definition you're using for watershed. We're not extracting water from the River John to take to homes, but the word is also used in general in terms of the watershed area.
But there'd be still veins or underground water, okay? That's where all the wells get drilled to get water. It just doesn't come out of one little pocket when you drill a well. You have the topsoil and you have the rock and then you have the water. So if they're gonna drill through the water, that's really the watershed. Thank you.
Can I clarify that?
Go ahead, Barb.
Warden? Because this came up online, you know, people had a debate, you know, when I posted the first about the information meeting, well, River John doesn't have a watershed, where's the watershed, you know? Anyway, so what I found, and I can't give it to you right now, but I think you could, any one of you can look it up right now, look up Nova Scotia watershed map. The whole province is divided into watersheds. There is something called the River John watershed, and some people know this more as a catchment basin, but technically a catchment basin is a subsection of a watershed, and where the water would flow from this site does not cover the whole of the River John watershed. It is within the River John watershed, and it flows through a part of the River John watershed. But I think that's the confusion, that some people are thinking that a watershed, a protected watershed, and Logan clarified this to me when we talked, because I wanted to understand, the way it tends to be used is to refer to the area that feeds a centralized water supply. I think that's what you're thinking about, but that's the definition, I believe, of a provincial protected watershed. The rural watersheds, which do feed, you know, into other areas, anyway, they are defined by the province's watershed, are not protected. And that's exactly what we've kind of learned to our shock. And that people's, you know, this can have very serious implications.
Okay,
Anyway.
I need to keep the meeting under time a little bit here, so.
Sorry.
May I just for a
Yeah.
second? I think what I was concerned about, that Chester was relying to our land use bylaw, and that is watersheds that are in there, and River John is not a specifically protected watershed.
Right,
watershed.
absolutely.
So that was my concern, so, thank you.
You're right,
Two different things, watershed and protected watershed, I think.
exactly.
But I just wanted to correct, or not correct, but explain, Councillor Dewar mentioned that he thought the room would be packed full and there would be no place to park. I specifically asked Barb this morning, and so did some of our staff, not to have too many here tonight because we had these other events going on, the presentation, we didn't want to get in the way of those. But you fellows have a public meeting on Thursday night at the Legion in River John. I think that's where the show of people will count.
Exactly.
But we were asked to try to limit it to 4 or 5 here tonight, so we didn't overcrowd the area for our other work. Okay, so is there any other questions on the motion to send a letter to the provincial government asking for a pause until the community has more information? Go ahead, Andy.
Thank you. My objection to this motion is not, I'm not debating your concerns, and I'm not trying to downplay them, the community of River John and area. We've had a long-standing practice of not passing motions in front of the presenters, and there's been times where we strayed away from that, and to our detriment, I believe. I think that there's enough time, we can gather again if it's an urgent issue that we need to deal with, but I think we need to hear both sides of the story. I don't think one side of the story is how you make decisions. So I can't support this motion.
Thank you. Councillor McKeel.
I'm humming tonight, I apologize, I don't know why. Thank you very much, Mr. Warden. I would tend to agree with Councillor Thompson. You know, that has been our long-standing practice, and I understand that there is a time limitation on this evening. So since this has been brought to my attention, I've been trying to do as much reading and learning as much as I can about it, and just trying to, I guess, understand the practices of it and what it could look like in the province here. I do agree with what you said, that it is very low grade compared to other places like Saskatchewan and that sort of thing, and it's my understanding that the more rock has to be mined for a larger yield. So I understand that. I think tonight we're not really getting into the depths of what's going on. I think more or less the question is just to take a pause and for us to kind of, I guess, residents and constituents to just take a pause, because this is new to everybody, and understand what's happening. I don't think our motion is really for or against this, in my opinion. I think it is just for us to take a pause so that everybody can digest the information and what's going on and learn about it, so that they can form their own opinion. I think when things happen too fast, we don't understand all the facts, and we don't understand what's behind it. So, you know, I see tonight our motion is not really for or against the mining. It's that we need to take a pause and really each of us learn so that we can have an opinion on it and what is best for our own families and for our own communities. So, you know, I don't really know how I feel about it. I've read negative and positive things, and I need to learn more about it so I can understand the pause for it tonight. But I'm not ready to vote for it or against it, because I need to learn more. So I guess that would be my understanding. Thank you, Warden.
Thank you, and I think that is the point, that none of us are here to say we're for or against.
Absolutely.
We're here to support the community and asking for a pause so that people will have more time to know where their thoughts and may still not feel for or against. Councillor Bailey.
Thank you, Warden. I'm definitely in favor of the motion. I have to agree with you, Barb. I don't think it's going to do us any good, but at least we are asking for, you know, that to get more information. You did create something, because we did get something from Natural Resources today, which we never had since it started. So at least you got one strike for you, for sure. But overall, I think the biggest thing is the questions that, and I think every time we're going to hear a presentation, it's going to create more questions and no answers. So if we can get a little more time, that's fine, dandy. Unfortunately, I don't think it will happen, but I'm willing to ask for it. I got one or a couple of questions. Well, no, I guess the other one's on the next motion. The leases pending, you were saying there was 200 of them. Those are mining companies putting into DNR to do more exploration. Is that what you mean? Like they're sitting on somebody's desk in Halifax?
Yes, that's my understanding. There's something online called Nova Rock where you can go and look and see if a company has put in a request for a new lease, and people have been monitoring that. I can't understand those maps in the slightest, but that's where I'm getting my info. Somebody else has done that.
Go ahead.
Yeah, and I guess just in clarification, I shouldn't have said that was one strike against you. That was probably a home run, at least. At least you got on me.
Well, but it does make the point, Ronnie, about how little communication there has been.
No, so we're all in the same boat here. We're all with a negative on information, And it's easy to say, well, I'll be against anything that's got to do with mining, or I'll be against anything that's got to do with uranium, but we don't know enough. And our job as council isn't to make this decision. Our job as council is to try and speak on behalf of the citizens, and you know, let the provincial government know what we feel and what we're hearing. But tonight, like Councillor McKeel said, isn't about that because we don't have enough information. So therefore, it dovetails with what you're saying, that give us some more time, give us a pause so we can gather more information, not just for the folks that live right near, which I feel bad for them, but also for us as councillors to gather more information and to know more before we make any decisions. So I think at this point, I'll call for the vote on this and ask, the motion again is to send a letter to the provincial government asking for a pause in the uranium exploration timetable until the people of the county have a better opportunity to know more.
Can I just say, if you go back to the wording, a pause before granting any leases.
Okay,
So
I was just taking it off the top of my
yeah.
head, but before granting any leases, and we'll make sure that is worded.
For
in that way.
uranium exploration, right?
Okay, I'm going to call for the vote. All those in favor? Aye. Against? Motion carried. Now, the second one that you requested had to do with the watershed. So do you want to read what that one is?
Yes, and I'm really open to you revising it to, you know, to be even more general, you know, if you feel that that's necessary. But what I wrote was that the Municipality of Pictou County Council believes that the River John watershed must be protected and agrees to begin a process with the aim of achieving protection of the River John watershed. As we undertake this process, we request that the province not permit any activities that would not be allowed in a protected water area. So I just say the part of the process about protecting a watershed, and I did give you a link. This has been done, a rural watershed, part of it. It didn't become a protected watershed, became a protected water area. That was in Colchester County. Mike Gregory was the counselor. He could, you know, anyway, you get more. But I think the reason I wanted to put this in is to flag that this is a watershed. It is people's water supply. Everybody's on wells, and to flag really the fact that rural water users who are outside of the municipal, whatever you call them, centralized water areas, are very vulnerable when something like this happens. So if you want to find a way to if this is too specific, you know, maybe you can just say you believe that the River John watershed should be protected, and you would like to request the province to not permit any activities that would not be allowed in a protected water area until the end of a pause, or whatever. Something
Okay,
like that.
I'm going to put it around the councillors and see what the feeling is. Do you want to put a second motion in? And the second motion would have to do, as Barb said, with protecting the River John watershed from any ill effects, I guess you call it, from uranium exploration. Is there a mover and seconder for that motion, I guess, where I should start?
I'll move it. I'd like to, after this seconder.
Okay. Okay, we have a mover, I need a seconder. I have a seconder. So it's been moved and seconded that we send a second letter to the provincial government, I'm just going to say for now, regarding the River John watershed. Go ahead, Councillor Bailey.
Thank you, Warden. I guess what worries me when we're saying the River John watershed, and I understand where the water is flowing to, I'm thinking of more of other areas maybe where it could be affected. So I'm thinking that we probably should be looking at asking for maybe a certain radius or a certain diameter from where the mining is, because if we say the River John watershed, you're thinking just the River John village, where it's being done up on the Louisville Road. There is those people up there, I don't think would fall in, maybe under what would be known as the River John watershed. So I'm thinking that we should at least maybe protect the west side, River John and the west side of District 4. That would cover the Lewis Road, that would cover the Brook Road, that would cover up in Wellsford. I'm thinking that just saying the River John watershed, it may not give those people right around or off to the right or left of the exploration protection. That's what I'm worried about. And also, I would like to, that if they're going to come back and continue with the process, tell us how they are going to protect us. That's another question, but maybe that's a question for later down. I'll go with just the original motion, but I think that we should include more area than just say River John.
You want to make it, do you want to make it an area, like an area within the exploration area?
Yeah, I'll make it west of the, I'll call it West River John and all areas on the west side of the, off the inlet, off the, well, I get part of the Northumberland Strait. But
Can I make a suggestion, Ronnie? What about rewording to say any parts of the River John watershed that could be affected by uranium exploration? And that way, you know, that's what you're talking about. We don't know exactly where it is. And if there are other leases that start getting granted, there may be a bigger part of the watershed.
Okay. Are there any other questions on the second motion to do with the watershed or with the area that Councillor Bailey's talking about from the exploration area out so far? Are there any questions on that motion? Oh, Councillor McKeel.
Thank you very much, Mr. Warden. I do have issue with calling it the River John watershed area because we don't even recognize that in our land use planning. So I think that we need to have, we just finished this exercise of watersheds and everything that we went through with that. But we don't recognize this watershed on our land use planning, so I feel like we shouldn't include watershed area. I think it should more, if for the motion, I'm not quite sure how to word it, but I find that it's not really staying in line with our documents, if that makes sense. It needs to be, it needs to be either District 4 or the River John area, but we're not recognizing that as in our planning documents. So I find that hard to go ahead. And yeah, thank you.
Okay, thank you. I'm not sure how to do that. Go ahead, Brian.
Could somebody maybe just look it up on your laptop and see the map, and that might help you be more. I get that it's being used two different ways, and you know.
I'll let our CAO see if he can clarify.
Yeah, the term watershed is defined, and the province defines the River John watershed. So there is a map that shows that. For municipal planning purposes, it's protected watersheds. So those are municipal drinking supplies,
Exactly.
drinking water supplies. So I think the term is okay. Like, we can reference their own document.
Exactly.
It's a watershed, not the protected watershed.
Correct.
Our document deals with protected watershed.
Municipal, municipal protected watershed. So that's where municipalities draw water from to support potable water. So there is a distinction, but the province clearly defines the River John watershed. And I think it encompasses all the area that Councillor Bailey was talking about, probably more. So it's, I think we're good.
River John watershed should capture the whole thing, is what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, Pierre, I'm not allowed to take questions from, I don't want to get any more trouble here tonight. Anyway, that's just the rules. But So do I see more lights on? Yes, Councillor Thompson.
Thank you. I can't support this motion again because of reasons I stated in the previous motion. I don't think it's good practice to be doing this in front of the presenters, especially when we don't have all the information in front of us. This is public policy on the fly. That's what this is. If there needs to be protection of the watershed, that belongs at the Planning Advisory Committee for study. Because we're making decisions here tonight that we will either have to go back on because it's going to impact something else. There's a whole bunch of unintended consequences with this motion, and I can't support it.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Watton.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, I supported the first motion because we're just asking for a pause and give hopefully a breather to what's going on, because again, unlike every other councillor here trying to get the information that I really don't have, I think it's imperative we do speak to Natural Resources. They've made the offer to us. So I think that we should definitely have a committee, the whole meeting with the Natural Resources to come out and have a conversation with us before we get into this. Like, putting the pause on it is going to stop it anyways, and then we'll have a better chance to discuss the watershed areas, because like, again, I know it's a really important issue and you don't want to see the watersheds damaged, but at the same time we're asking for a pause. If we don't get the pause, it's not going to help with the watershed issue either. So I think it's important that we did pass the pause. We did recognize that, but I think for the second motion I'd prefer to just leave it for now and just go on with the pause and contact Natural Resources.
And that's why we're going around the table to find out, where people think they're at. Go ahead.
And I'm the same. I agree. I think motion one takes that into account. I think that if we're going into motion two, it's make more restrictions and make things more complicated. I think motion one would protect motion two, so for the time being. So I won't be supporting the motion.
Okay. Is there any other comments before we call for the vote? Pardon me? Councillor Boas, yeah. Sorry.
Save me, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah, my opinion on it is that we're a council that's supposed to be here to protect our citizens and help the people that need help and come to ask us for it. I don't think they're asking us to turn around and give them $1 million or give them the moon or something. They're asking for some protection. And to me, what's the harm in sending something in is to find out. It might be just the icing on the cake that changes their mind, so I support it all the way.
Okay, and Councillor Donnie Parker.
I agree with Councillor Watton here. I think motion one is totally different than motion two. Motion one is for a pause, give us time to get educated on this uranium issue. Motion two is asking you to do something definite here and prevent anything happening there, period. I think motion one covers it. And once we get some education, figure out what uranium mining is all about here, we can make a better decision on motion two. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor McKeel.
Thank you very much, Mr. Warden. I would agree. I think that the first motion should cover the second, but we, of course, want to make sure everybody's drinking water is okay. But I feel that we're kind of, to Councillor Thompson's point, it's one thing to put a pause on things, but I don't think we should be making policy tonight that we don't have all the answers to. I said it before, I'm trying to learn so much. I've been on websites and, ChatGPT all weekend trying to read about it and learn about it. And, I think that I don't have enough information to start passing policy, and it's not that I don't support having everybody's drinking water clean. It's not about that. It's just I feel before we do this, we need to have all the information. And as Councillor Thompson said, we shouldn't have a habit of doing this a presentation. So that would be my point. Thank you.
And Councillor Bailey.
Thank you, Warden. I'll hopefully finish this off, but I think we're putting too much emphasis on motion one. If anybody's around the table thinks that they're going to pause, come on out home and I'll sell you, whatever you want to buy. And I think that's what makes and it's because of motion one, why motion two with the watershed is so important. At least we're putting on the record saying that we are concerned as to what will happen to the water in that area. So to me, I think by passing this second motion, we're putting on the record that, yes, we know that there could be issues with their proposed mining, and at least that way they can't say 6 months or a year down the road, oh, I didn't know you were worried about the watershed. So to me, I think it's as important as the first motion, if not more.
Okay, I think we got a long agenda in front of us, so I think we should move on. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Councilor Turner.
Thank you. Could I hear the wording of the motion, please?
Who has the motion here? I have it. You have it?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead then, Councilor Bailey.
That the municipality of the County of Pictou Council believes that the River John watershed must be protected and agrees to begin a process of aiming the achieving protection of the River John watershed. As we undertake this process, we request the province not permit any activities that would not be allowed in the protected water area.
Okay, so that's how the motion reads, and we're taking the understanding that watershed means the whole area, not protected watershed. So I'm going to call for the vote on the motion. All those in favor of the motion, please raise your hand. Okay, and those against, please raise your hand. Somebody get a count? I'll get a count of 6, 7, 5, is it? I didn't get the 7, I got 6. Well, I see 5 against, so there must have been, we're all here, must have been 7. So the motion is carried. Thank you. Now, get back on track here. Oh, sorry.
They would come out and talk with us, so I think we should take advantage of that.
I'll get staff to make a note of that, and, you know, we certainly want to hear from everybody, so that's part of the process here. Okay, so that's the end of our presentations. We had a report came out late this afternoon, New Scotland Business Development Report. Are there any questions on that? That doesn't require action, so.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. They're gonna leave, but I guess that doesn't make a difference. They got their check. I see Pierre and Violet are gonna leave, but it doesn't make a difference. They got their check. No. Well, they have it with them. No. But it's been a long night, so already. Yeah. So, just as we get reorganized here, who did we lose? Councillor Bailey? No, Councillor Dewar, yeah. Are there any questions on the New Scotland Business Development Report? Seeing none, we'll move on to the NSP 2023 Evergreen Integrated Resource Plan, IRP, Action Plan and Roadmap Update. I don't know if there's anybody here that can speak to that anyway, is there?
No, it's just like for information.
There's a lot of information. Is there anybody has any questions to do with that? It was above my grade level, but I read some and then lost any, yes. Okay, if there's no questions on that, we'll move right along and we'll get to our resolutions. First resolution, Councillor Turner, our Climate Change Action Plan. Go ahead, Councillor Turner.
Thank you, Warden. Resolution, whereas the municipality of the County of Pictou's Climate Change Awareness Committee has developed a municipal climate change action plan, whereas the purpose of the MCCAP is to document the impacts of climate change on the municipality of Pictou County and to provide a roadmap for a few key mitigation and adaptation actions to initially address those impacts. Whereas the plan focuses on key actions that include carbon capture, erosion and flooding protection, wildlife protection, emergency measures, and infrastructure modifications. Whereas it also includes a 5-year financial plan that provides high-level cost estimates for implementing MC CAPS actions, which will be considered during the municipality's budget process. Therefore, be it resolved that the municipality of the County of Pictou adopt the Municipal Climate Change Action Plan dated at Pictou, Nova Scotia, the 2nd day of June 2025, signed by myself, Larry Turner, and seconded by Councillor Wayne Murray.
So second?
Okay, you've heard the reading of the resolution. It's been moved and seconded that we adopt the climate change action plan. A lot of work, of course, gone into this over the last few years, and we've had a lot of discussion at our committee meetings. Are there any questions on the motion? Go ahead, Councillor Boyles.
Well, still, the money part is the big thing. I've been getting calls on the money part, how much money we're talking about here, and people are really concerned about it. I know it's a lot of work put into it, but I would have to vote against it just for that reason, that people are concerned about the money aspect.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions or concerns about the motion on the floor? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor? Aye. Against? 1 nay. Okay, and we'll move right along to the motion is carried. Move right along to the second resolution. Councillor Palmer, MacLellans Brook Water Project.
Thank you, Warden. Put that on. Whereas the municipality of the County of Pictou received 3 bids from contractors for the construction of the MacLellans Brook Colburn Water Extension Project. Whereas the municipality staff worked with all parties to determine the scope of the project that would be within the funding envelope of the original project of $7,646,071. Whereas the scope change has been approved by all the funding agencies and the Municipality Financial Service Committee. Therefore, be resolved, the municipality of the County of Pictou award SW Weeks the contract for the MacLellans Brook Colburn Water Project extension at a cost of $6,940,396 plus HST. Dated at Pictou, Nova Scotia, the 2nd day of June 2025. Moved by myself, Councillor Randy Palmer, and seconded by Councillor Andy Thompson.
Okay, you've heard the reading of the resolution on the MacLellans Brook Water Project, and the amount of dollars there, $7,646,071. And it's been moved and seconded. Are there any questions on that? Councillor Boyles again.
Yeah. As I said, a lot of money's been put out to MacLellans Brook there. I mean, ever since I came on council, it's been, buying from the Glasgow and putting this in, buying there. I'm just hoping that now some of the other districts are going to be looked at.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Thompson.
Thank you. I want to congratulate Councillor Palmer on this motion, this resolution, and getting this much-needed water service to that part of the county. It's been a long time coming. We should be happy for the folks in MacLellans Brook and Colburn areas. There's areas out there where you just can't drink the water. And I know there's a lot of places around the county that have that. But the difference here is you have density. You have a key community with like Thorburn, and hopefully this is the first phase. This is a tribute to Councillor Palmer and the work he's put into this, along with the staff to get it to this point. I know the residents of that area are excited. This is transformative for them, and I know that it'll be a nice day when we can hook up every house in Thorburn, but it won't be with this project, unfortunately.
Okay, thank you. Is there any other comments or questions? Go ahead, Deputy Warden Murray.
Just a correction, Mr. Warden, you read out the first figure, which was the high one, and it should be the lower one. Should be $6,940,000, and you read out the $7,646,000.
Oh, I overspent a little on my budget. Okay, good thing there's somebody here keeping an eye on me. Go ahead, Councilor Palmer.
I had my light on first.
You were just looking for, see if you get that higher amount of money, that's all.
No, listen, I want to thank this council and the federal and provincial governments for supporting this project. This is a very important project for the area of MacLellans, Brook, and Colburn. This is what we consider phase one. We had to leave out part of the original scope of work because of the funding at the time, and then COVID hits and everything like that. Prices skyrocket, so we left out probably 4 kilometers off the original scope. So hopefully that there's more funding agreements that come out with the feds and the province, and that we can finish the rest of this area in phase 2. And really Thorburn is hopefully in the end goal to get it there, because there is a lot of homes there. We're in a coal mine area where a lot of methane, things like that. The taps and sinks and everything are, you know, if you don't have water softener, and that doesn't even do the job. So we're very fortunate to get this done, and hopefully we can continue. So thank you.
Okay, thank you, Councilor Palmer, and certainly we have areas throughout our rural county here in Pictou that have bad water. There's no doubt about that, and we just need to keep working on them, and we need that funding cooperation from the other levels of government. But I know there's one in Councilor Donnie Parker's area that's similar. It's chocolate milk; you can't drink it. So. And, you know, it is in every district. I know we could point to some areas in that district that their water's not good, but we have to work with the, you know, most of our water comes from Forge Lake through the town of Glasgow and then through other towns, but, you know, we have to work with them to make sure that there's enough water supply available, I guess, in order to service the areas. Otherwise, whether we're able to do them financially or not, doesn't matter if there's not enough water at the other end. So it takes a lot of cooperation from a lot of different bodies to make this happen, but it is good news for the county. When it's good news for anybody in the county, in my opinion, it's good news for the whole county. Go ahead, Councilor Palmer.
And just on that, and I forgot to mention, it's the town of Glasgow has a first-class watershed, like water supply and things like that. So we're very fortunate to have them have their watershed, and that we have an agreement with them. So, and like you said, we got to work with them in order to do more if possible. So as long as we keep within our agreement, then that's great. But hopefully we can sit down with the town and discuss future plans. So thank you.
Okay, if there's no more, Councilor Donnie Parker.
Thank you, Mr. Warden. I'm a big supporter of putting water to people that really need it, and it sounds like this area really needs it. But I have a number of people in my area that really need water too. So when that project comes up, I hope I get some support here. But it's I was just talking to them here. Their water is chocolate milk. That's how they told me. It's just they can't bore wells. They got to dig wells. If they bore, they get chocolate milk. They're spending up to $16,000 trying to filter the water so they can get something drinkable. One lady told me there. So. But I believe in supporting anybody to get water. Like there's some people don't have any water right my way. The wells are running dry in the summertime, or they got salt. You know, it's a problem I'm sure throughout the county. But in the Salem, Salter Road, Pleasant Valley Road, that's a water area that's really poor, and so that someday down the road that'll be coming up. But I'm a supporter of this project here tonight. Thank you, Mr. Warden.
Okay, so we had did I miss anybody? We had a mover and a seconder for this, I believe, so I'll call for the vote. All those in favor? Aye. Against? Motion carried. Now we'll move to some of our municipal service grants, and we'll start in District 3 with Councillor McKeel.
Thank you very much, Mr. Warden. Resolution. Be it resolved that the municipality of the County of Pictou approves the following municipal service grants for District 3. Bayview Hall Street Light, $40. That's the yearly cost of that light. Bayview Community Hall, $900 for maintenance. Halliburton Pictou Cemetery, $2,000 for maintenance. St. James Mill Dam Cemetery, $1,800 for maintenance. Seaboard Cemetery, $2,000 for maintenance. Caribou Island Cemetery, $500 for maintenance. Waterside Cemetery Company, $2,000 for maintenance. And Central Caribou Cemetery, $5,000 for maintenance. Upper Caribou River Company, Cemetery Company, $6,000, and that's for maintenance and as well as an expansion to the cemetery. Caribou River Community Hall, $2,700 for maintenance and expenses, and the Caribou District Fire Department for $3,000 for gazebo construction, for a grand total of $25,940. Dated at Pictou, Nova Scotia, the 2nd day of June, 2025, signed by myself, Councillor Darla McKeel, and seconded by Councillor Larry Turner.
Okay, moved and seconded the municipal service grants for District 3. Are there any questions? All those in favor? Against, motion carried. And we'll move right along to District 7, Councillor Parker.
Thank you, Mr. Warden. The resolution reads, be it resolved that the municipality of the county of Pictou approves the following municipal service grants for District 7. Millbrook and Area Community Club, $1,300 for cell booster, gravel, and fill for the hall. Forest Hill Cemetery, $2,000 for maintenance. Millbrook Cemetery, $2,600 for maintenance. Friends of Pioneer Cemetery, $2,500 for maintenance. Friends of Caledonia Cemetery, $1,000 for headstone repair. Northumberland Regional High School Greenhouse Project, $5,000 to assist in the purchase and install of the greenhouse. Carpool Lot Street Light, the yearly operating cost of $480 for a grand total of $14,880. Dated at Pictou, Nova Scotia, this 2nd day of June, 2025. Moved by myself, Donald Parker, and seconded by Ronnie Bailey.
Okay, you've heard the reading of the resolutions regarding the municipal service grants in District 7. Are there any questions on that resolution? Hearing none, all those in favor? Aye. Against, motion carried. And now we'll move to Councillor Palmer, District 10.
Thank you, Warden. Resolution, be it resolved that the Municipality of the County of Pictou approve the following municipal service grants for District 10. Thorburn District War Memorial Association, $1,667 for maintenance, history, binder, or names on the cenotaph. McPherson's Mills Community Hall, $4,000 for maintenance and floor repair. District 13 Recreation Planning Commission, $5,500 for facility maintenance. Union Presbyterian Church, $2,500 for replace windows. Thorham Cemetery Association, $2,500 for maintenance. The Mountain Cemetery, MacLellans Mountain, $3,200 for maintenance. And McPherson's Mills Cemetery, $3,000 for maintenance, for a total of $22,367. Dated Pictou, Nova Scotia, the 2nd day of June, 2025. Moved by myself, Councillor Randy Palmer, and seconded by Councillor Joe McDonald.
Okay, been moved and seconded the resolution to adopt the District 10 municipal service grants. Are there any questions? Hearing none, all those in favor? Aye. Against, motion carried. And now we have Councillor McDonald with the high school bursaries.
Thank you. Be it resolved in the municipality of county of Pictou approve the following grants and bursaries to these local high schools. Northumberland Regional High School, $2,000 for graduation bursary. North Nova Education Center, $2,000 graduation and bursary. Pictou Academy, $200 for bursary. Tatamagouche Regional High School, $200 for bursary. Total of $4,400. Dated at Pictou, Nova Scotia, this 2nd day of June, 2025. Signed by myself, Joe McDonald, seconded by Deborah Wadden.
Okay, so you've heard the reading of the resolution regarding the bursaries, the graduation bursaries for 4 high schools. Any questions? Seeing none, all those in favor? Aye. Against, motion carried. Now we'll move on to the climate change bursaries, which we actually did deal with earlier tonight, but they haven't been officially put through until
So everybody got to vote for this.
Yeah, they're going with the checks, so.
We don't want rubber checks. Resolution, be it resolved, the municipality of the county of Pictou approve the following bursaries to the graduating members of the Climate Change Advisory Committee. Violet MacLellan, Pierre Burdell, $500 each, total of $1,000, dated at Pictou, Nova Scotia, the 2nd day of June, 2025. I so move this resolution and seconded by Councillor Turner.
Okay, thank you. And so, like our deputy warden said, we better agree. Any questions on that? All those in favor? Aye. Against? Motion carried. Thank you. And now we have, Councillor Wadden with the appointment of our Code of Conduct Investigator.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Resolution, be it resolved that the municipality of the county of Pictou appoint Charles Thompson of Birchall McDougall as its Code of Conduct Investigator at a cost of $275 an hour for investigations and $275 for writing the report. Dated at Pictou, Nova Scotia, the 2nd day of June 2025, signed by myself, Councillor Deborah Wadden, and seconded by Councillor Joe McDonald.
So seconded.
Okay, so you've heard the reading of the resolution on hiring. This is for our new code of conduct, and so the investigator, when we run into problems, will be Charles Thompson of Birchall McDougall at a cost of $275 per hour. Are there any questions? Go ahead, Councillor Boyles.
Is that our law firm that we have?
No.
That's different, isn't it? And who's this fellow with, where they at?
They have an office in Stellarton as well.
There's nobody around here that locally wanted, eh?
I think it was put out for bids or whatever, and I think, did AMANS recommend?
So the Association of Municipal Administrators pre-qualified basically 10 law firms in the province. Our law firm that we deal with on a daily basis was pre-qualified, but they're in a conflict of interest because they provide other advice to council, so we couldn't use them, so we had to go outside. And their recommendation was Charles Thompson.
Okay. Any other questions on that before I call the vote? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion carried. Now we're down to the last one on that list, which is the Shared Services Letter of Support. Do you want to address that one, Brian?
Sure. Don't have much more than what's in the memo. The Pictou County Shared Services Authority is applying to the Provincial Capital Assistance Program to do a generator project at Eric, which is the abatement plant, sewage abatement. And part of the condition is that there's support from the units. Typically, if a municipality applies to PCAP, council endorses the application. But where this is a joint venture, they want basically all the owners to basically endorse that this is a project that is worth considering. I don't think
I think that's pretty well sums it up, but the big problem, it's been a problem for a long time, at Eric and Trenton at the station there, if the power goes off for too long and they can't process anything, well, it's going to be going into the river. And they've been fortunate enough for the most part that the power in town generally doesn't stay off as long as it does in a lot of areas in the county. So, but the province has now said that you must have this backup. It's not a choice anymore whether to gamble. And it was brought up, many years ago when I first came on anyway, it was brought up then as a concern, but it wasn't an edict from the province or anything, and now it is. So in order for them to get this PCAP funding, Brian said they all have to agree, but if councils want their own PCAP funding, then they're going to get it ahead of the place in Trenton, Eric Place. So you know, unless we all agree to give them priority, then they won't get the funding, and therefore it won't happen. And not only are we not doing what the province told us we had to do, but we are running a risk all the time of putting stuff out into the river. And I'm not sure if that's happened before or how many times, but I mean, that's what it comes down to if your machinery isn't working. So it's quite important that they get this through, I think. So that's the only thing I can add to what Brian said. Are there any questions on this, signing this letter of support? Go ahead, Councillor Turner.
Thank you, Mr. Warden. What's the estimated cost of the generator project?
There was,
800,000?
it was a lot of money, I know,
Yeah.
but it's different stages too. This is mostly for the plant, I think, itself. And then there's the lift stations. So there's a lot of costs at the lift stations.
I think it's between 800 and 900.
But that's just for the plant.
That's just for the plant, yeah.
Nothing to do with
You're-
the lift station.
You're correct.
Okay, that we support.
I'll second it.
Yeah. Okay, so we have a motion now to approve a letter of support for Eric for the money for a generator. I don't see any lights on, so all those in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion carried. And now we're down to consideration of deferred business. Is there any deferred business this evening? Not hearing any. So community announcements. Do we have any community announcements this evening? Go ahead, Councilor McDonald.
District 1 is going to have a yard sale. The whole district starts at 8:30 on Saturday morning. And the World Ocean Day and Beach Cleanup is going to be happening in Lismore at 11 a.m. on that Sunday, the 8th.
On the 8th?
Yeah.
Okay. Any more community announcements this evening? Councilor Dewar.
We got the same thing taking place in the East River Valley, District 12 and 11. They're having the 70-mile sale, I guess, yard sale, and there's things open at the fire hall. There'll be places to get a little snack here and along at the churches too as well, in the hall, and Springville, Sunnybrae too. But anyway, it's just the most important thing about that day is like any other day. If it's a good day, a nice day, people will get out and go around and support. So if you're looking for something to do, and don't bring big money, just bring a lot of little money.
Yeah.
And spend some. But anyway, it's an important fundraiser for the different groups as well as the individuals. There's a lot of kids be there selling their wares. You can get toys and clothes and anything else like the maple syrup, honey, everything that goes along with it. Thank you.
Good place for kids to learn entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, are there any other community announcements this evening? Not seeing any. We're down to motions of reconsideration. Do we have any motions of reconsideration? Good. I'll declare this meeting adjourned. Thank you all.